Welcome, Cobra athletic fans, to another exciting episode of the Cobra Corner. My name is Will Habel, and I'll be your host today. I'm alongside JT Colapetro and David Mack. We've got a great show for you today as we sit down with Maddie Fontana of Cobra Women's Lacrosse and Women's Track and Field, and Will Frazier of Cobra Wrestling and Men's Track and Field. We'll be touching on everything from their athletic experiences to their involvement around campus. Sit back as we unpack the latest and greatest updates from Cobra University Athletics.
All right, let's dive right into it with our weekly roundup, highlighting key results and performances across various sports here at Coker this past week. Starting off, baseball took a trip up to the Buckeye State to take on Ohio Dominican, D2 GMAC side up there. Took two of the three games this past weekend. Adam Wilkerson went 4 for 9 from the plate with a .444 average. With 3 RBIs and 4 stolen bases. Jalen Mack went 3 for 7 with a .429 average and 3 stolen bases. And then Gabriel Santiago went 5 for 12 with a .417 average with a double. On to Acro.
Yeah, Acro defeated Wingate with a final score of 243.240 to 229.115. And back out to the track and field with JT.
Yeah, in track and field, Mariah Mitchum brought home 2 top 10 performances on the women's side, second in the 208th in the 100-meter dash. And then on the men's side, Coker saw a ton of top 10 performances from Austin Bates, Donovan Jones, Jeffrey Stills, Yazir Persal Garcia, Will Frazier, and Luke Baker as well. And heading out to the links with women's golf. Women's golf actually won the Barton College Invitational. Had Danielle Gianni won the entire tournament as an individual, and Felicia Sundergreen took second in the tournament. So a big week for Coker University women's golf. And this week's Athlete of the Week segment is going to be Will Frazier of Coker Men's Wrestling and Track and Field. Will, welcome on, man.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. So for the viewers who don't know you and everything like that, give us a little bit of a background as to, yourself, what you do on campus, and, some of the sports that you play here at Coker.
Well, I've been here for 4 years, and I've came from Lexington, South Carolina, and I just wrestled here for 4 years, and I've done track, and I've helped out with esports and Spirit Squad.
Now, obviously, as you just said, obviously you take a huge part in pretty much 4 sports on campus. Probably one of the more active athletes here on campus and everything, obviously, and everything like that. What is it like, sort of like just doing 4 different sports and everything like that, and just having a big involvement on campus?
Well, the big thing is just to manage your workload with classes and just communication with everybody, with all the coaches and everything.
Absolutely. And this past weekend and everything like that, you obviously competed in the javelin, and you were able to go ahead get a top 8 performance and everything like that. And honestly, track and field is starting to get underway and everything like that. What is it sort of like just making that transition from both indoor track and wrestling into pretty much now just going to the outdoor environments of track and everything like that?
Well, I'm very comfortable with the outdoor environment with track and field. I'm not too well versed in the indoor environment because I'm just really well versed in javelin only. They don't have javelin indoors.
Yeah, Jav, obviously one of the bigger events and everything like that. And obviously, as I said before, with Coker Wrestling and everything like that this season, and you're actually able to do a little bit more than just, help out wrestling wise. You were actually able to take part in doing some play-by-play and helping the team out in other ways and everything like that. What is it like kind of just helping everybody out sort of like in more than just the competitive aspect of the in terms of the athletics world and everything like that?
Well, it's just a little bit different because you got to take a little bit of a back step and play a different role than what you used to be doing, and just more just like monitor and just check up on people and just kind of like supervise instead of being in there.
Absolutely. And whether it's track and field or whether it's wrestling, whichever one it may be and everything like that, obviously the family aspect here at Coker never seems to go away and everything like that. And obviously with the aspect of, again, keeping everybody kind of together and everything like that and family, it shows for both teams. And for wrestling, obviously, it's a bigger team than track. So for wrestling, obviously, we'll start with that one. For wrestling, obviously, what has Coach Rob kind of done and everything like that? And what has the team kind of done just kind of keeping that togetherness and kind of keeping that family aspect that you see here at Coker with Coker Athletics?
Well, wrestling is just a whole different sport altogether. Just because at the end of the day, we're all in it together, and you guys, the way wrestling is, you're competing with one another to try to get a spot in the starting 10, and you're just battling with one another and just going at it one, and that bond that you gain with one another is just unbreakable in comparison to other sports that I've experienced.
And for track and field, obviously, as I said before, it is coming from a former track athlete and everything like that. As much as it is individual, well, when you step on that track, it's a lot of individual, and really the only, the real time that you compete as quote unquote as a team is in the 4x4 and everything like that. But at the same time, obviously you always get your teammates out there, you always get people cheering you on and everything like that. So what is it like kind of just having that, again, that family aspect with track as well?
Well, it also has a competition and competitive aspect in that aspect, because you need to understand we're not all the same. We're not all built the same, and we all have our own specialty in track, especially with the runners in comparison to throwers. Because I've tried the 100 meters and like the 400 meters, and I just gained a whole big respect to the people that run those events, because I definitely can't run them competitively in comparison to other runners.
Coach Galloway and everything like that, they help out and everything like that with you guys. And obviously, it's not just him; it's also Coach Ball as well as Coach as well, or Coach Dawkins, I should say. What is it kind of like just for everybody to kind of, bounce off of each coach? And, I mean, I see it every day with all three coaches. Nobody really has that quote-unquote specialty. It's a case of if you need help and everything like that, they're there to help.
Yeah, Coach Dawkins is my, specialized coach and everything. But if I still need help in other ways and other aspects of my sport, I can go to any of them just to ask for help, because they're all well-versed and knowledgeable in track.
Absolutely. And it was this, and obviously for Coach Rob and everything like that, obviously he was the main coach this year and everything like that. But from the way Coach Rob kind of treated everything, it was kind of one of those things where it wasn't just, it wasn't a case of there was one guy he focused on. He focused on every guy on the team and everything like that, whether it was a starter, whether it wasn't. And getting something like that from someone like Coach Rob, that's got to be big for you guys, because he's making sure to, again, take care of everybody.
Yeah, it's especially with how big of a team wrestling is. It's hard to keep track with everybody that's going on. And I have my utmost respect for Coach Rob, and there's nothing I can ask more from him.
Absolutely. And this year, obviously, it's your senior year and everything like that. And for you and everything like that, with this being your senior year, obviously you had a couple senior nights. What is it kind of just been like these past 4 years for you here at Coker and everything like that?
I've had a great experience here at Coker, and I couldn't have asked for anything more. The big thing, if you come here to Coker, just do anything you can. If an opportunity occurs, take it. So.
Absolutely. And obviously the other thing with Coker and everything like that here, as I said before, you have a little bit more of a bigger involvement on campus and everything like that as well. What is sort of like that? I'll let you kind of give a little bit more insight as to what your involvement on campus is as well.
Well, I was a former commissioner here at Coker, which is only for rising sophomores, and their role of being a commissioner is to help incoming freshmen get the grasp of what college life is. Because like the whole first semester of their college experience, they're going to have that commissioner that they're assigned to and help them along the way, especially with the CU 101 class and everything. And they're just kind of like supposed to be like a good old role model for them, and if they have any questions or anything. And I'm also an RA, which I'm just monitoring a hall and making sure everything goes well, and just monitor.
Absolutely. And going back to that, what was it again? My fault.
Oh, commissioners?
Yeah, going back to that commissioners and everything like that, helping a couple of freshmen and everything like that. Helping some of the incoming freshmen is kind of big and everything like that, because obviously this could be somebody's first time, moving away from home or something like that, or spending a long time away from home. So what is it like, kind of just like being able to help somebody who's new to campus and everything like that, and just, help them adjust to the on-campus life?
Well, there's a lot of ways to do it, because some people are more extroverted than others, and some people are introverted, and you just got to help them find their home here at Coker. And one of the ways is to provide these resources to them, like what they may be interested in, or you may need to like help like drag them out and to like talk to people in other ways, just because they may not talk to people otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, being a student myself, coming in and having people, especially like when you're moving away from home, you're homesick, you don't know what to do. I mean, you're all by yourself. Like having those guys or guys and girls to help you is really something special, and good thing that Coker does for helping incoming freshmen for sure.
So my question, I guess, would be, as an RA and as somebody that is involved with the campus and has to deal with a lot of other students, a lot of the times in a more supervisor capacity sometimes. You said you were kind of local, correct? You're from Lexington, South Carolina. Yeah. Okay, so how, as somebody local, can you relate with somebody that may not be as local? So like as myself, like I'm here from Akron, Ohio. We've got some people here from Colorado, from Florida, from many different places, some international. So how can you relate to those people a little bit?
Well, I can relate to them because especially with these sports teams we have on campus, there's people from every walk of life there is. Because there's people from, like you mentioned, Florida, Colorado. Every sports team has, I'm pretty sure, at least one person outside of the state. So you just got to find something that you guys both relate to in some way, and then have that kind of click, and then make those bonds that you may not have with other people.
Yeah, and the great thing that I have found is that athletics can be a glue for a lot of people. So regardless of what it is, a sports team or being involved in the department in some way, in some capacity, it can really bring people together through just watching sports, playing a sport, whatever that may look like.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, because I've done almost probably every sport there is known to growing up, and then you just got to build those bonds. Even if the big thing with those bonds is like you guys are all struggling together, and you guys just find a unit as one, and then you guys, that's what makes the team, is like you're struggling together.
For sure.
And it's also one of those things of just like, and this is something that you hear a lot of in training, whether it's an RA or even in general, just like meeting new people, is just connecting the dots and everything like that. And connecting the dots is probably one of the biggest things you can do as like somebody who, who's been here and trying to introduce yourself to somebody new, is just, connecting the dots with them.
Yeah, and it's also, it can be a scary thing just trying to meet other people in general, but that's like, you got to get yourself out your comfort zone a little bit to make those connections and make those bonds and be a part of the team.
Absolutely. And something like that, even comes more so off the field than it does on the field and everything like that, because sometimes it's one of those things where you hear somebody talking about it's a case of you'll hear somebody talking about, say, basketball, and then you find out that this person has a real interest in basketball and everything like that. And it's something that if you show them or you find the common interest and everything like that, that person's going to find a way to, again, just have a huge impact and everything, and they'll start to open up a little bit more potentially.
Yeah, especially like you may not agree with or get along with these people one-on-one like all the time. You may not be their best friend, but like just to have that moment or a couple moments with that person and change their experience in just a little bit of a way can make a huge difference to them like staying the course and staying here at Coker.
Awesome. And obviously I want to retouch on sort of the rest of the season for track and everything like that. Obviously, as I said before, or you guys just had swinging back to the athletics and everything like that. Obviously, this past weekend, you guys had the Phoenix Invitational and everything like that. And season's starting to get into full spring and everything like that. Obviously, 2 meets in and everything like that. But for track and field, obviously, you go from winter to spring and everything, obviously with that month break in between. But it's one of those things where track kind of just goes all out or I almost want to say from October till about May is when the competition and when the practices start to go and everything like that. What is it like kind of just going, constant coast to coast from October to virtually May in a sense?
I'm kind of used to it by this point because wrestling is like an all year round sport, and that's what most sports are nowadays anyways, especially growing up. Like, there's different travel leagues and all that. You got to find time to enjoy yourself and just find your own peace in the meantime. But sometimes sports is the peace. So
absolutely. And obviously for a lot of people, well, it's a case of sometimes preparation is a little bit different from track to wrestling and everything like that. But what are some of the similarities that you kind of do for both track and wrestling?
With track and wrestling, the big thing is, I think with also a lot of sports, is the mentality, like mental. It's it's more mental than anything, but it's just different in the way of like the way you got to prepare. But it's 100% mental because you can have like a really bad day, and then like I had my first meet, I didn't do good at all, and then the next week I performed well, and just because it was just more mentality, the weather got it into my head, and then that's it. It was just the weather was good, and I was like, I'm in a better mood. So
absolutely. And obviously the mental game is probably one of the biggest things for an athlete in general. Well, no, but nonetheless, that's going to wrap it up for this week's Athlete Heat of the Week segment. Will, thank you for coming in, man. Seriously.
Pleasure for having me.
Absolutely, man. This week's Athlete of the Week is someone who takes a large part in Morgan's message of Coker University and is a big key in many of the campus activities that you see around Coker. This week's guest, this is Maddie Fontana. Maddie, welcome into the podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Maddie, just give us listeners a little insight about yourself, who you are, and where you're from.
Awesome. My name's Maddie. I'm from Colorado. I'm studying business, entrepreneurship, and innovation, as well as marketing and advertising. I'm currently a sophomore. Along with being on the women's lacrosse program, I also took part in the cross country and track program here.
Excellent. And obviously, as I said before, starting off, pretty much you have a large part in Morgan's message, and I'll let you kind of like explain what Morgan's message is and everything like that for people who don't know what Morgan's message is, because it's honestly a relatively new concept to my knowledge.
Yeah. So Morgan's message has actually been a program since 2019. The family of Morgan created a program the summer after she passed away in 2019, and that just started from friends, family, teammates as well. We're all involved in it. They saw a need for individuals, especially in athletics, to just be helped. A lot from her journal after her passing was definitely shared, as well as some news from friends and supporters that did not necessarily see it while she was going through it. It was a very hindsight moment. And with that hindsight information, they want to provide it to as many friends and family, mentors, teammates, coaches that would also see others going through the same thing.
Absolutely. And I'll let you go ahead and just kind of let everybody know what your role is with Morgan's Message here at Coker.
Yeah. So I'm actually the president over our RSO. On the national side, I'm an ambassador. So I'm a part of all of the organizations, group me's, emails, all of that. As well as they have different video callings and programs that I'm able to go through them. I was able to represent the SAC on a national call last semester as well, which was a really neat opportunity. But yeah, honestly, anywhere from planning games here, planning meetings, I'm able to be a part of. I'm able to encourage others to be a part of. Beginning this year, we had around 12 advocates, and by the end of first semester, we have over 70 individuals from Coker's campus that are actively involved and a part of our group chat, as well as a part of just encouraging others around us.
Now, obviously, with Morgan's Message, obviously, it's a big thing because it also focuses more so on mental health. And obviously, getting a big group to help out with something as big as Morgan's Message, that's got to be big for you to, like, see that growing, not just as, not just as a community, but also having multiple people help out with Morgan's Message.
Yeah, actually halfway through first semester, we started an entire group so that it wasn't just me. And now we have 10 individuals on our EC, help from several different sports programs, both male and female representatives. And that also helps bring in their teams. With it just being one or two individuals, you're not going to be able to bring in as many people. With it being several individuals, you're able to bring in so many more. And also, with that being said, I can't keep track of everyone. I can't make sure that I'm able to support everyone and be on call 24/7 as much as I would love to be. But with having that help from several different individuals from different backgrounds, different ages, different majors, different teams, different groups, in general, we're really able to reach a lot more individuals.
Yeah, so what's it like just keeping up with such a fast-growing organization such as Morgan Message? Like you said, going from a few like the teens numbers to now 70. How have you handled that to being the head of all that?
I can't lie, it was really overwhelming at first. In the very beginning, we had an Instagram, and that was literally it. From figuring out the Instagram to how can I actually encourage and be a part of these individuals' lives. I care about knowing all of their names. I care about knowing what they're a part of. I care about knowing when they're going through injuries, knowing when they're going through family problems, things like that, and not to be in their personal lives or anything like that, but just to make sure that they're feeling cared for and supported, whether that's by me or whether that's by someone else. I care about them knowing that they're loved. And a big thing for me is this is something that I prayed a lot about over summer. It was something that I spent a lot of time thinking about and just praying about and speaking with to other people as well. And it's a need. It's a relevant need to this place as well. It's not just something that's impacting our nation. It's something that's impacting every single one of these students as well as coaches. And so there's definitely that need for that, and that's helped as well.
So taking charge in an organization like this, overseeing this, what has maybe, if there's a certain moment you can point back to, like what's been one of your favorite things about being a part of it?
Yeah, one of my favorite meetings was definitely after probably our first or second. We had over 40 advocates for the first time where we were all able to sit down in one classroom and just speak about what was happening, speak about what Morgan's Message is. We went through a constitution that we all follow, from the lines of, hey, like, we're not going to talk bad about each other, to, hey, we are going to support each other when we're in times of need, as well as me advocating for them on the coach's side. And from the coach's side, me making those connections to, hey, like, what's going on with these athletes? Like, is this what's happening, or is there something else that's happening? That communication going both ways, as well as that communication going to other places in the university. I felt very supported by Dr. Harder, our president, as well as several of the vice presidents, Kat Davis, and our entire team. We just seeing us all together for that first time was a very impactful moment for me. From then on, it's definitely challenging as the year progressed and more sports events were happening. Life happens. class happens, natural stressors just happen. And that first meeting, just the excitement of it, I'm excited to see those continue growing and happening throughout next year as well.
Yeah, and it's really exciting to see something like that be so prevalent on a campus where I also came from a school like this where a large population of your students are student athletes. And a lot of what we see is the struggles of being a student athlete with dealing with a practice schedule, dealing with having to go away for games and go on a trip, and then dealing with a full course load, along with sometimes those athletes possibly having a part-time job and things like that. It's hard to deal with, and we see it in every level, high school, college, professional sports, where you're seeing athletes struggle with mental health issues. So having an organization like that where you're really truly lifting others up is such an important thing in today's day and age where mental health is such a big deal.
Definitely. And it's interesting too, because social media can be a helpful factor in this, and it can also be a very hurtful factor. The exposure rates and the things that our youth and even our generation are seeing more and more frequently was not common in previous generations. We are actually one of the most lonely net generations. We are isolated from community constantly. And with that being an athlete, that can be a very beneficial factor where we can be on a very positive and uplifting community. And we can be spending those 20 hours plus a week in that positive and encouraging environment. Or we can be in an environment that is not very encouraging and that can really bring us down and cause issues.
And obviously spreading Morgan's message goes from, not just, in the meetings and everything like that. Obviously, we've been able to have multiple games where we have more than one athlete, spread Morgan's message and everything like that. And what has it kind of been like for you just having multiple people, not only like spread Morgan's message, but being able to do it, in such a large setting in a sense in terms of games and everything like that?
Yeah, and I can't lie, it's been a lot of learning curves with that as well. However, there is nothing more encouraging than seeing the person next to you share their own story and stand up for what they see as fit and what's needed in their environment. I'm not on other sports teams. I don't know what's happening in their teams. I don't know what's happening with their environment, and I want them to be able to feel supported in their own environments and encouraged in their own environments. Part of the process when we continued getting advocates to sign up to be a part of Morgan's message was making sure that all teams were well represented, as well as different groups throughout campus. So Morgan's message is not just open to student athletes, it's also open to other students on campus, because we would not be able to tap into the different majors and the different departments. And for those students to be encouraged from all sides is very important.
And as you said, getting that different perspective from virtually everybody, whether it's, for example, like someone like you who is on the women's lacrosse team as well as is on the track and field team, has a different perspective than somebody who's on the wrestling team and everything like that. So just getting somebody from, the different aspects and everything like that in the different majors has got to be a big key for you guys and everything like that.
Yes, absolutely.
So with it growing so much over the past, since when you took over, maybe what's something that either currently or in the future you're either working on or want to improve on with Morgan's message and growing that community?
So one of the big things that I'll be working on is a training program. We were going to have some guest speakers come in from Colorado. A little bit background on me. The area and county that I grew up in Colorado is one of the top 10 counties in the nation with suicide rates. It's been a state of emergency since I was 11, 12 years old, and I've lost several classmates, friends, and mentors to suicide throughout my youth and just growing up in that area. And so I see that need a little bit differently than it might be seen here. Not that it's not an issue in South Carolina, it just hasn't been as largely impactful as it has been in other areas. However, I see very similar stages as I've seen in Colorado growing up. And that was a huge factor in me wanting to build it here. With that being said, we need more resources and we need more trainings. There are evident factors, and there's evidence in the way that individuals respond and act when those situations are happening. And far too often it's normalized and it's overlooked because everyone goes through struggles, everyone goes through battles. However, how those individuals react to those struggles and battles is what matters. And whether they feel encouraged and supported enough to make it over those battles, or whether they make quick and everlasting decisions. And that's a huge factor in preparation and change. Not that that is fully reliant on the community. However, that community being aware and helping those individuals makes a huge difference.
Now, where could somebody go if they wanted to potentially join the fight with Morgan's Message and everything like that? Or where could somebody find more information about Morgan's Message?
Yeah, so for the organization itself, just morgansmessage.org. For Coker specifically, you are more than welcome to Instagram DM us. You're more than welcome to email me at madeline.fontana. Literally any resource on campus, I'm more than helpful to point you towards. We do have counseling on campus. We also have counseling services that I'm working with throughout the community so that there are more counselors available for students in need, as well as our telehealth.
All right. Well, Maddie, thank you for joining us today for another episode. Thank you for helping us learn a little bit more about Morgan's Message.
Absolutely. And thank you for all you do for not only for me, but for the school as well. Really appreciate it all.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and let's go ahead. Let's take a look into next week's action, starting over in the links with men's golf. Men's golf is continuing their tournament play as of today, when we're recording this on March 26th. They're at the Tennessee River Rumble. Well, they're, after yesterday, they're currently tied for 5th right now, going into the tournament. So hopefully men can go ahead pull off a rally on that one. On a nice course, according to Coach Hackney. But nonetheless, moving back over to the track's going to go ahead and look to continue their heavyweights, if you will. Going over to the Livingstone Invitational on Saturday. And then for softball, was going to be a little bit of a busy week this week for softball, but what was going to be 3 games now turned into 2. They're now going to go ahead on Wednesday, instead of facing Fayetteville State. They're actually supposed to face Emory and Henry today. They're going to be facing them tomorrow. So on the 27th again. And the day that this is most likely going to be uploaded, because we had, because we're recording on the 26th today, Tuesday. So they're going to be facing Emory and Henry. And then on Saturday, they're going to go ahead and take the travel on the road and face Lincoln Memorial on the road once again. So it's a heavy road week so far, and the road action continues with baseball as well, Will.
Yeah, we have baseball heading out to Limestone for a 3-game series on Friday and Saturday. And then for men's lacrosse this weekend, we have a big week this week as we take on number 9 Newberry at 7 p.m. on Wednesday at their place. And then this weekend, take another trek up the mountains to Tusculum for a big SAT game on Saturday at 4. And now into the gym with Acro.
Yeah, so Acro back home this week for the first time in a very long time. They face off against Emmanuel in a dual meet on Thursday at 5 p.m. And then out to the tennis courts, men's and women's tennis, they take on LR. So the day that we're recording is Tuesday the 26th. They play today at 2 p.m. And then they'll head back home for a morning matchup at Byerly Park against UVA Wise on Saturday at 10 a.m.
And there you have it. Another Cobra Corner episode. We hope you enjoyed the show. We can't wait to see you supporting Cobra Athletics in the stand or online. Remember, your passion and support makes all the difference for our team. So keep cheering, be loud, and let's go Cobras. See you guys next week.